9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Roger tower.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It's Saturday, October 28th, 2023. I'm Doug. Joining me today is, I guess I should look to see how well our camera angle is. We lucked out. We don't have to stop and start over. Today we're going to be talking about Stephen Greer, one of our favorite. I do want to talk about what happened in the skiff this week. What didn't happen in the skiff is that...
Right, there's really more of that, right. What was supposed to happen, but...
It didn't. I guess there's a matter of security clearances with the Congress
Of course.
people.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about, shed some light about who is the one who does know what is going on.
Right.
Who is that government above the government?
That's right.
We're peeled back to some layers, and as we go through the show, we're going to be playing the, I need to mention, it's the Shawn Ryan show, and this is from episode 65. Shawn, and full disclosure, Shawn allows other podcasts to use his material
and stuff like that, right?
But we have to make sure that we, tag him, and we're open, and we talk about him.
Yeah.
And he's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you send this to, I don't remember who sent this to.
I probably did, because a friend of mine at work, who really doesn't follow the phenomenon, sent it to me. And I just kind of, I'm like, wow, this guy's good.
Did you see the new thing with Lazar? They're making actually making a a video of, like, a 3D video of the experience at S4.
No, I didn't even hear about it. No,
yeah, and
really?
I think it's 2024. It's going to take a while to get through it, but everything, he describes everything to a T. As you know, I'm not a big Lazar.
I was just going to say, that's your buddy. He kind of, like I said before,
not a big Lazar fan.
He kind of got me back into it, because I was already into it early on, and then he kind of brought me back in.
Yeah, so we're going to actually play the podcast. You'll hear us talking about, again, Stephen Greer we have a shared disinterest, not disinterest, but a shared skepticism about Dr. Greer.
He just talks a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but
he's, I think he's a charlatan,
I want to know who's he talking to? Who is this guy talking to?
So, so we're going to play a little bit of the... If I can find my cursor, we're gonna go ahead and play this.
All right.
Johnson, whose, by the way, UFO encounter report we have was given to us by Lieutenant Colonel Heckert, who knew him, who was our U-2 spy plane witness who encountered these objects as a U-2 pilot. But and then of course Ben Rich. Ben Rich was the Lockheed Skunk Works and acknowledged towards the end of his period there.
Anything you imagine,
that they
we've
had
done.
Technologies that could, quote, take ET home. He also stated there were no private conversations anywhere on the earth.
So I'm going to stop this for a minute. How does he know all these people?
I don't know.
He has no security clearance.
Wasn't
you know
he ER doctor?
Yeah, well, he's a doctor,
and
he kind of gave up. I'm assuming he gave up his practice.
Yeah, I heard him once say he kind of got so interested in this that he gave up his practice, and this is kind of his practice now.
Earth, true. Mm-hmm. No matter what your encryption is, and also he said that anything you imagine, we've already done at the Skunk Works. Now,
I think Lockheed's a big one
that we deal with conventional jet, rocket, ramjet type classified aircraft, right? But then there's another division that is the deep black. I want to make a distinction between the black budget and highly classified,
deep black,
legally
you can't get any
projects.
deeper.
Here I'm talking about You know, there's a guy
Or
I'm
blacker
working with
than
now
that.
Yeah.
who literally oversees the black budget of the United States. He was never read in on the UFO or UAP issue. And when he tried to find out, he went out to the Lockheed Skunk Works. He was shown a bunch of these conventional propulsion systems. He was not shown the ones that are the man-made UFOs, that are the electrogravitics, the things that float, boom.
Electrogravitics.
I
Have
hate,
you heard?
I hate when he
So
says
I
that
think
word.
that-
I don't know what
That's
it
the
is.
first. I've never heard that term before. This guy.
Before
It's
him,
like
yeah, he's mentioned
electrogravitics.
I don't know why that
I had a hard
word.
time when I was doing the transcribe. We just transcribed this a little bit.
Were you
RJ.
even able to find that word in the
I didn't
dictionary?
try looking it up.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
That
We'll
word-
run across it, but we should try. It didn't spell check it.
Yeah, oh, it didn't, so it's out
Wait a
there.
minute, I gotta see.
That's-
We'll run across it.
Yeah,
That's one of the problems, is that there's almost two parallel systems. And there's very little points of intersection between the two, what I call the constitutional government of the United States. I just call it USG, the U.S. government, legal. And then there's the illegal secret government projects.
So yeah, there's the secret government. This is the government we talked about that's above our government.
right. Is this the deeper black
Deeper
one?
black.
Deeper black one?
Well, no, that's the contractors. They have their, because what he was saying is they go to talk. They give these senators and whatever. They show them to for appropriations.
Right.
To spend the money, and then they go to show them things like Lockheed, and they don't show them
It's like,
the
here.
good stuff, the 0 point energy.
Yeah, no.
We're assuming we have that. I mean, that's a whole different discussion about what are we ready to put the oil companies virtually out of business except for making PVC pipe out of petroleum.
Right. Or oil for just the engine. Exactly. That'll keep things lubed.
Yeah.
Okay, the ISG. So there are compartmented operations at the Lockheed Skunk Works dealing very specifically with this area of technology, which has nothing to do with rockets, jets, conventional aerodynamics. And it has to deal with electrogravitics, which is the ability
that
to
word
create
again.
a very high
There
voltage
it is
system
again.
that causes a
Number
electromagnetic field propulsion.
I'm trying to find
so
where I
there's almost like an
wrote it down.
electromagnetic field bubble around an object. It can levitate, lift, and it can go, Mach 300 and never have a sonic boom, and no heat on the.
Yeah, and you can do that, but I mean, how do you do it without getting liquefied?
Liquefied.
I mean, you've got an inertial dampening system. We don't even know if there's people inside those things.
Right. I'm assuming there's not, because like you said, there's got to be something in there to protect a human body. Even if, anything that's going to... Because once you go that fast, I keep hearing, and that, you're pretty much... You're done. That's it.
Yeah, but...
From 0 to whatever.
Yeah, you can... Well, if you look at Star Trek, I mean, it's just a show.
Right. Is it?
Is
Is it?
it's real.
Right. Yeah, it could be.
Or Star Wars, when they're going, light speed, they
Right.
don't get... they
don't jump back.
They don't get... They slammed against a bulkhead.
Right. So I would imagine that everything in there is encapsulated.
It's an inertial dampening
Yep.
system to where the inside's not affected. And this is kind of almost like a time, space kind of thing.
The other thing about Star Trek is when they warp up, and wouldn't that whole spaceship start making noise? I mean, you get in a jet, you're in a jet. You can hear everything.
Yeah.
But with the old Star Trek and any of those things, you never really heard much of a sound other than like an engine.
Yeah,
We're talking-
you're encapsulated.
Yeah.
And you're insulated from.
Yep.
There's probably no noise.
Right.
I
And
mean,
you hear that from a lot of the
abductees and things.
Yeah, it got all silent, completely quiet. The noise cancellation.
All right, as Steven moves on.
Outer section of it. These are very advanced technologies. Now, those began to be studied back long before I was born, and I turned 68 this week, so you can imagine how long we've had these
It's
studies.
getting up
Happy
there.
birthday! Oh wait, that was
We
in
actually
July.
measured
a while back.
gravity control in
Belated
October
birthday.
1954. One of the members of my team for many years was in the vault.
So that
was
means
the
he had
top
to have
scientist
some-
at the Naval Research Labs, the very large Department of Defense lab in D.C. there. And I've been in there, and he saw the documentation for this.
So he gets in these. How does he get in these labs?
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
mean, that's
does he have any kind of?
You're in this lab. I mean, so he's portraying himself as somebody as a first person witness,
And he carries a lot of clearances.
He doesn't have clearance.
I know. So
That's the problem.
So are people telling him things they're not supposed to be telling, and literally that could be a problem?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 750 whistleblowers.
Yes,
I mean, so he says.
What I say, that's a small town of whistleblowers. Yeah. That is a small town.
People talk to me.
Yeah.
But you're kind of thinking it's a cult.
You know, he exactly. He gives off that cult persona. It's like, you know, these guys are all wrong.
Greer CE5
90% of the ufologists aren't correct. I'm correct.
I know for a fact.
I've got to the source. Yeah,
I know
yeah.
for a fact. You'll hear that.
Oh,
you may
like
hear that.
We need to bow down.
Yeah, this is a 2.5 hour endeavor, and we've got 5 minutes we just done. So I don't think we're going to get through. I don't think we're going to quite get through
all of it.
The entire.
He just throws
we just have
crazy things out there again and again. I love it.
Yep. Here we go.
So, and I think what the public, and this is true of the senators and the congressmen and the White House, they are not read in to these other projects. They simply aren't. You know, I had a friend of Trump's tell me over this past weekend that
I know for a fact.
They just
friend
don't
of
tell
Trump
us much or anything, or very little. So I think that these sort of operations, as Eisenhower warned, you know, have just gotten out of constitutional legal oversight. So I call those the illegal secret government projects. But those are in the Lockheed Skunk Works. So there's facilities out in the desert. If you go out to the Mojave Desert, there's a facility and an underground opening. So the really sensitive
I've heard that a few
facilities
times.
are all in underground skiffs or DUMS, deep underground military base facilities. And that whole area of California is like a beehive connected underneath with tunnels.
Okay.
I know where.
Let's go, Greg.
So
Let's
he's
go.
got
Doug, let's go.
the Mojave. I've seen, and I saw in. I had the coordinates of one of them that Lockheed was building out in the Mojave Desert.
Really?
You could actually see it. Yeah, it's got like a.
Like Google Earth.
They
or something?
use it. Yeah, I got it on Google Earth. I should take.
Maybe
I'll
like
take pictures of it or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's got an opening, and what they use it for is to test stealth systems.
Right.
For aircraft.
Right.
So this thing opens up, and this is for real.
Right.
It opens up, and they put the.
Wait, you saying he's not for real?
He's
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
he's for real.
Right.
Just in the physical sense.
Right.
I don't know. But I don't know if he's seen all these things.
So you said it opens up and it's...
Yeah, it opens up, and it has the aircraft sitting literally on top of like a post, for lack of a better term. And then it measures with the radar. I guess you can do this. It enables them to do it without flying the thing.
Oh, shoot. And it's like some giant pit or hole.
It's like, and it lowers down, and then it just looks like a giant parking lot on top of a little building where they go down in there. I should have took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Because somebody said it was somewhere, and if they give the coordinates, I can Google Earth. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's really there.
Yeah, you're real. Okay, that's
it's
awesome.
like the 3 pyramids. I don't know if you've seen them. There's this 3 pyramids up in Antarctica. And they're half covered with snow.
Right.
My oldest son sent me the original picture, and it had the coordinates, so you can look at it at any time.
And these are like ruins left from
they say.
Right.
It doesn't. Right. I mean, when I say it looks like a pyramid, it could be anything. It could be. It's not like.
But
pyramids.
from the picture, it looks like.
It looks like 3 pyramids,
right.
And they say it's like Orion.
Didn't Mars have 3 pyramids? I think.
Yeah, I think that was another one that had 3. Well, they
and the face.
They put the pyramids in, and I complain about these guys jumping around. But the 3 pyramids are like the stars up in the Orion system,
right?
And they're all. If you look at a few other places on Earth, that's how they're arranged.
Yeah,
even the Inca, even like in the Incas.
Yep, the ruins. Yeah, that's crazy.
They are. I know people who worked in them.
I know.
I know. Yeah.
Are those all Lockheed?
My friends.
No.
Friends of Trump.
Because those were actually built by Bechtel Corporation or HIT Construction. There are a few contractors who build these underground connectors. And for years, they used a nuclear-powered tunneling device that would go through bedrock and just glassify it. So you'd have a connecting tunnel between,
want
say,
that.
Edwards
I
Air
want
Force
that.
Base and Nellis Range. And you never have to go above the surface. So I'm very
Go to
familiar with
Edwards.
these
So
and
anyway,
where
so
they're
we're
located.
going. All right,
So you
now
literally- Go ahead.
we're going from Edwards Air Force Base all the way to Area 51.
That's got to be
Underground.
miles. What, Edwards is in what, California City, I think it is? And then, yeah, that is miles and miles of a tunnel.
Yeah, into Nevada. I mean, I'm not saying it can't. I mean, this is one of those things where you
Yeah,
kind of
you-
hope it's real.
You can't say that it can't be possible, but
Yeah, it's.
is there tours there? Can we can we maybe drive?
Well, you know, I mean, are you following the war at all? I mean,
a little bit, not much.
I thought you were fun.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not. Some days I can be fun.
Thought you were fun, Matt.
Right.
You gotta listen to the fun of
You're like,
the war.
listen to stuff, dang it.
Well, it's funny because I have on the Twitter, you know, you listen to Alien Probe at Twitter whatever.
Yes, plug.
A plug,
Shameless
plug,
plug.
shameless
Shameless
plug.
plug.
So I'm on Twitter. I know that was the most.
Where are you?
Where are Alien Probe? So I have all these ufologists and things. That's who I friend.
quite-
People friend us.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of them also have because you put it on the feed and then it shows what's happening in the war. And I'm sure it's the enemies putting stuff on Twitter too. 'Cause
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're reading this stuff. It's like, what is even real?
Right.
Well, they had
Disinformation.
anyway, the reason I brought it up is because they have tunnels,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That makes sense.
and so they're built. They have tunnels where they can actually drive pickup trucks.
Wow.
And well, that's the story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that they're they're like 12 miles long
Jeez.
underneath the
My
ground.
goodness.
And
Is there candles? Is there lights down there? You got to imagine how I guess the vehicle has lights.
it looks like somebody was.
Is there homeless people down there? I mean, hey, you guys have to move or try
They
to-
don't allow that.
Yeah, no, that's
They
not
don't-
allowed.
They don't allow
We
homeless
do.
people just laying around there.
We're good with it.
You know, just passed out with a bottle on them. Rig sticking out of their arm. Yeah, it's. Did I say that?
Yeah, you went there.
With that, we'll
Quickly.
continue on.
Greer, let's go to Greer.
I've debriefed a number of guys who've been on them. So it's all part of let's call it a coalition of operations that are corporate, contractor, and governmental, but governmental as in off the reservation of legal oversight and constitutional requirements. This is why the Senate and the House are moving quickly to get this under control, because about a year and a half ago, we were providing enough information that they now realize that this is real, that the UAPs, UFOs are real, and they're beginning to realize that a bunch of them are ours, but they're being used in deceptive indications and warnings, meaning false flag operations.
Yeah, what he's talking about there is you saw Michael, I think it's Michael Herrera. I always get him mixed up with.
I think, yeah.
That's one of the guys he brought forward, and the guy that saw the UFO, and it was special operations people. It wasn't alien, you know,
Right.
non-human entities. Actually, special ops guys in black, and they were unloading these crates.
Right.
And I don't know if they were unloading these crates, but they saw the crates on the craft. And allegedly in those crates were humans, like children and things. And these humans, actually, he may talk about it later, is that these people that they have in this thing, that they capture have psychic abilities.
Yeah.
And a lot of them die.
That's
According to him.
Right.
You know, and according Michael, the Herrera dude, I don't think he knew anything other than his group.
Yeah, they just
this
said,
thing.
in fact, the cool thing about Shawn Ryan is he has Herrera on for an hour, and then he's got two others, but he talks about that whole story.
It's a great story.
It is. It's a really good. Yeah, that's like 67 or 68. So I'm a shameless plug.
So this, of course, is the topic that I brought up to the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, General Patrick Hughes, way back in the late 90s. I said, look, you know, you guys are being completely zoomed and deceived by some of these objects you think might be extraterrestrial, but they're ours. So Lockheed has some of those.
Let's talk about...
Raytheon has a very, a certain type of them. Usually they're trapezoidal or triangular. My uncle worked for his whole career at Northrop Grumman. They have ones that are large, triangular, and other shapes. But so many of these objects that people think they see a UFO, well, it's a UFO to them because they don't know how to identify it. So one of the things we're doing is juxtaposing an interstellar vehicle, an extraterrestrial vehicle, with a man-made one, and what are the characteristics and differences? Because operationally and tactically, the Pentagon and the White House and Congress need to know this. Otherwise, they're sitting ducks to be deceived by all manner of nonsense.
Who are the other players? So we got Lockheed, Skunk Works, we got Raytheon, we got Northrop Grumman. Is Boeing involved in this?
Yes, there's a division of Boeing that absolutely is involved.
It's like the top
General
5.
Motors has traditionally, and Ford, and General Electric for sure, and EG&G. EG&G is a major player in this space, as well as Raytheon and TRW. Booz Allen Hamilton
Ford.
has
Ford, that's right.
That deals with this problem.
So,
of course, it's Ford.
are these? And then there was the construction company who's building these underground facilities.
The Bechtel Corporation and HIT Construction.
So, are these companies competing with each other?
They do get into competing bids. It's a very interesting story. One of my whistleblowers who's still too afraid to come forward, that I've dealt with for about 7 years, was 10 years in the Pentagon and worked in a very classified operation deep underneath the Pentagon. And he was read in across 18 of these unacknowledged SAPs, unacknowledged special access projects, dealing with this issue. And one of the things that happened there was a 3-star general that was brought into near Fort Sill, Oklahoma, at Lawton. And there was a skiff, an underground facility where we had downed an extraterrestrial vehicle. And this general brought an unauthorized person who was his girlfriend, who was a Booz Allen Hamilton executive, so that she could see
Girlfriends
what they were
always
studying.
get you in
So
trouble.
her group would get a leg up on the competing contract.
Have you heard of that Booz Allen Hamilton before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I looked him up.
He was actually
Interesting.
CID, Criminal Investigative Division, after having been a mainline military. And I know the general's name. We have all this. It's been handed over to the investigators for the U.S. government. But he ended up being demoted a star, but he was never prosecuted because the Department of Justice was blocked from being able to gain access to what it was that he did.
Right.
Because the projects don't exist. I mean, this is gets into very complicated legal and SecOps, the whole security around these operations. But because of the extreme level of secrecy, the big problem with the public and the media is they think you're president, you're chair of this Senate committee and what have you, and that there's this vast conspiracy of these kind of people lying to the American public. It's the opposite. They're actually victims, most of them. Now, there are a few devils. I'll be quite blunt. I'm not going to name them. There are a few devils in the government.
Oh, come on, name them.
Who are sort of embedded operatives to basically gaslight and deceive members of Congress or people in the White House or what have you. And because they have sort of an all-access pass, they can put themselves in positions of authority, but their authority is based on...
So when I dug up, and this isn't a secret, but it's interesting because we talk about the government above the government.
Right.
And it's called the Gang of Eight. Have you heard of this?
Yes. Yeah, he's mentioned that before, too.
And the chair of the Gang of Eight is a name you probably have heard of before, Michael Turner.
Oh. Wasn't that the guy that kind of wanted to stop the whole...
Yeah, he wanted to stop he was against the whole disclosure thing.
Yep.
He didn't want any of that to come out.
Right.
And that's in the United States House of Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Right.
Is that me? And
Turn your phones off.
so Michael Turner, he's the one that in his district has Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So, he's got, we talked about his financial, I think I buzzed you the financial.
Yes.
He makes whatever he makes, but he's got millions of dollars in the bank and millions of stocks.
So he has a lot invested in this.
Yeah, he's not even, I don't know, where's he getting all that money?
Right, exactly.
And it's, I don't want to,
He's not getting it out of renting out a skiff or anything.
Yeah, but he's stonewalling this whole thing.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
I haven't really looked into the rest of these. The other one on his team is Jim Himes. He's a Democrat out of Connecticut. He's a ranking member.
Okay.
We'll just go over the names for those who don't have video. United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence is Mark Warner, Democrat, Virginia. Right. He's the chair with Marco Rubio.
Wow.
And Rubio, I thought, wasn't he in the Grush
forward.
thing?
Yeah, he is out forward.
So I don't know if these guys are all in the know, or if it's just, Turner.
Right.
Is Turner the man?
He's a top dude.
And then there's the leadership of the U.S. House of Representatives, Mike Johnson.
I've heard of him.
Republican out of Louisiana. He's a speaker with Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat of New York, minority leader.
Right.
Then in the leadership of the U.S. Senate, Chuck Schumer, good old Chuck.
Yep.
And Burchett was actually talking to, you had discussions with Schumer.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of what he does in honor of.
Yeah, and then the Mitch McConnell, we know Mitch. Mitch is
I've heard of that name.
Representative or a Republican on Kentucky, minority leader. But a lot of false information. What he's trying to say is a lot of what Greer's trying to say is that these guys are the ones they're calling the shots, basically, but they're getting fed misinformation.
Right. Yeah,
So
right.
I believe,
like I said, his information is right.
I believe
95% of the UFO community isn't.
Yeah, I believe if you look up Michael Turner's skirt, you're going to see.
Right.
If they ever do.
He's definitely putting blocks on a lot of things.
Yeah, so, I mean, anybody who's definitely against disclosure, I would, definitely have a look at.
Yep. Yeah, especially him.
Here we go.
On deceiving the constitutional leadership of the U.S. government.
Well, I'd like to get into that as well. Back to the military-industrial complex companies, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, all these. How many people do you estimate are on these programs within these different companies?
Well, there are thousands. There has
thousands at each company?
Not at each company. Well, the bigger ones, very likely. Now, remember, you can have, because of top secret special compartmented information protocols, you can have a guy at this desk in a cubicle working on something. He'll have no idea what this one's working on.
So you have basically an enterprise of people that are all working on one project, not realizing what that project is.
Correct.
Okay.
They wouldn't know.
Compartmentalized.
Now, at the more
That's
senior
typical. Yeah,
management,
compartmentalization's typical.
obviously.
Yep.
But let's call it the pieces out there. They would have one piece of it. But those can be very valuable sources of intelligence that I've been meeting with for decades, because they may know just one area. They may have this one sliver of information. I feel like my job has been to do the whole comprehensive intelligence assessment from thousands of pieces from credible people inside these corporations and in government programs, and put them together into it's like a scatter.
How is he? How does he get these people to talk to him?
I don't know.
These thousands of people.
Is he paying these people? Is this why?
Well, whatever it takes, but I don't understand.
I don't either.
Why all these people are talking to him.
And remember, somewhere there's 10 terabytes of information that he's eventually. This is before he even mentions that, because this is in July, and he talked about that later on, a few months later. Yeah. I don't know. Good question. How's he getting this?
I don't know how why these people are talking
the guy
to
with
him.
no clearance.
But he's transferred the information. I don't know if he transferred it to Arrow.
Yeah, I think he said he was going to get it to as many people that could do something with it as possible, and he was going to open source it.
Yeah, another one of my favorites is Sean Kirkpatrick of Arrow.
Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. Oh, that's a whole different show.
The CIA
We should have a
stooge.
show on that. We need to have a show on that guy.
CIA stooge.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know about,
you see the
there
petition?
are nothing. What's that?
There's a petition out there.
Yeah, I signed it.
Yeah, I signed it. I don't know what he's talking about.
Probably going to get on somebody's
I don't
rap
need to
list.
target.
Yeah. It's like the other petition we sent out. Did you get the disclosure?
Oh, yes.
To
Yeah.
talk to your senator.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I sent that out. I made my kid do it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's the whole, one of the other things that is out there is that, and then Burchett,
Go, Burchett.
Representative Burchett.
I'm a fan. I'm a fanboy.
Yeah,
of
I'm a
Burchett.
fan of his.
Yep.
But I think he's trying.
He
They
is.
got in the skiff. Grush wasn't in the skiff this
No.
week on Thursday, but the other
He was supposed
Luna,
to be.
Your favorite Luna was in there.
Yes. Go Luna. That's a super Luna fan. Yes.
Luna fan too, and a couple others, and they weren't really something about propulsion. Now there's, I don't know if you've been reading. I don't know. There's something about, but they aren't.
Is that what they're worried about?
Yeah, they're
being out
not
there?
talking about it.
Yeah.
They're and I don't know why just propulsion popped up, but they're not. Burchett said he couldn't talk about it.
Of course.
And there is going to be things that they can't talk
Yeah,
about.
there
We
is.
get that.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, in 1947 in Roswell,
Right.
just show me the spaceship.
That's right.
Show me the flying saucer.
That's it.
Show me the
Let's make a
NHIs that
museum.
you pulled
Let's
out
do
of
a
there.
tour. We can take, just carry it on a big truck, driving around, let people
You
look at it.
should. You pay. They've got a good. Somebody brought up. You should have somebody pay. To
Yeah.
put it on display.
Yeah, people would buy that. I would.
It's like they would be lining up for days.
I'm wearing the T-shirt. I'm
Yeah.
wearing the hat.
I'm
I'm in
buying
the
all
fan club.
buying all. That's right.
Right. And I'm not the only one.
They
Right.
had $139 shirts.
Why did you mention that?
Do not mention how much I paid for that.
Nothing. I
The
said,
good thing is my wife doesn't listen to the show.
Right. Oh, does she now? Are we sure?
This will be the one. Yeah,
This is
will be
why
one
we
of the-
can't get in a skiff about that T-shirt.
Yeah, because I wear that.
Or not T-shirt, shirt. Yeah, this is definitely not a
I
T-shirt.
wear that. It's very popular with MUFON. I wear
That's
it.
a little inside joke.
Yeah. All right.
Big puzzle with 1,000 pieces. So we got to eventually put it together into the picture. And so sort of one of my tasks is to make that picture come together based on specific evidence, whistleblower testimony, documents, everything, which has really been my whole
Thing.
project. I mean,
Yeah.
since 92, 93. When I briefed the CIA director in 93, we had a comprehensive assessment of the situation.
Yeah, the disclosure. You've listened to. You saw the
Yes.
Disclosure Project. What did you think of that? It's been a while, probably, since you.
It was good. It blew my mind.
It's a Stephen Greer production.
Yep.
And I was all about it.
Yeah.
And then in the end, he tried to sell me that CE5 stuff.
Right. That's a problem. So
Isn't there somebody in our group, MUFON group?
yes, there is. Yeah. I'm not
CE5er?
I can't name
Is
any
it the
names.
guy with the daughter? He has a daughter that he brings in. No.
Yes, I think it
that
is.
guy?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to name any names.
No, we can't name any
Yes,
names.
yeah. We got sources
In our group.
in our group. Yeah.
Maybe we're the cult.
Yeah, yeah.
The MUFON cult.
Yeah, that's the problem. It was good all the way to the end, and then all of a sudden,
Tried to sell me something.
send your
I'm
check
like,
to.
yeah, and it's like, okay, so he's just
I get it. He needs to make some money. Does he really though? He was a doctor. Does he really need to make
well,
some money?
he's not working as a doctor, so he needs to make some money somehow.
The problem is once you start saying this and then you throw a money value in the end of it, you start losing people.
Like I said, I was all about it. I said, this dude's
Yeah.
the lady.
Yep.
But again, as you peel the layers of the onion back, okay,
Yeah.
who do you really know?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I know for a fact. How do you know that for a
Right.
fact?
Right.
And why can't you bring, he's telling Grush to give information.
Why can't you give him
You're not
information?
under an NDA.
Amen.
You can come out and tell us
Amen.
whatever.
Yep. Whatever you want.
You don't even need to give us names. But he allegedly knows where this stuff is.
Are we sure he doesn't have an NDA?
It might be.
Right? Are we sure he doesn't have any clearances? Maybe there's a clearance that nobody knows that he has a clearance.
In another interview, he said that he was in some
airplane
some secret submarine base in the Gulf of Mexico that they had something stored there.
Nothing is out of
nothing's out of limits. Nothing's off limits with
right.
Steven.
Nothing.
And that's evolved in 30 years, obviously, because we keep getting more granular detail and specific intelligence. And this is what we've been handing over to the U.S. government since they passed the law a couple years ago, ordering
Errol
the
must
Director of
have
National
gotten
Intelligence
something.
and the Pentagon to report on this. Now, the problem is the people who were put in charge of that, to be quite blunt, couldn't find their ass in a well-lighted room with both hands. And sorry, my old Southern expression. But they absolutely had no idea, about the issue. And you saw last spring, there was a couple of those guys, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick and an ONI guy.
That's your buddy.
For Congress.
There's your buddy.
Members of
Kirkpatrick.
Congress who looked at our Disclosure Project content prior about the Maelstrom Air Force Base, Minot, North Dakota case where there was a intercontinental ballistic missiles taken offline. I think it was 18 of them, something like that. And they asked Dr. Kirkpatrick and the other gentleman from Naval Intelligence, and they go, well, we've never heard of that. Well, anyone who would have read the disclosure book that came out in 2001, we have the documents. We have the government official documents. We have
Shameless
the NORAD
plug.
documents. We have the two witnesses. One who was...
And this is the problem with Arrow. I mean, this isn't the dirt Stephen Green only.
Right.
Excuse me, Stephen Greer only.
Like I said, he touches some really good real subjects, I believe. But
yeah, but as far as Arrow, we don't know anything about that, and we don't believe that this is, an exotic craft or it's like they are so, just CIA stooges.
right,
I mean, they're just CIA.
right.
And I'm just going to put it out there, and that's what I put.
When
Anybody who has to listen,
shirts, I'm ready for a shirt.
every
that says
time
that.
I'm gonna get that.
I'm down. You let me know. Put me down for one. I'm buying one.
One of my, you're one of my two Patriots.
Yeah.
This high-powered show.
High power.
I think Debbie might have kicked me off. I got to look.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Well, they did something.
Let's shamelessly plug that, by the way. Alien Pro Podcast is on Patreon.
On Patreon.
He needs at least a few more since Deb kicked him off. Got jumped off of it.
It's $5 a month.
Yes, no, that's like a price. That's not even. That's cheaper than coffee.
It's cheaper than coffee.
Yeah, it's like 2 Slurpees.
I have to buy more monitors.
Yes, yeah. This command center
My
needs
command
more.
center needs more monitors. I bought that third monitor, and David's like, "Why do you have to have so many monitors?"
One more monitor, and we're gonna put one more sticker right here. One more sticker.
I gotta buy more.
Either that or a
Those
bigger
cards.
monitor with everything on it.
I have to pay for everything though. You got to pay for that QR code. That's
Yeah.
not free.
Yep. Yeah.
I've got to pay for now my editing software.
My band, we bought one of those, the QR codes.
Oh yeah.
I had no clue what they were. I'm that hip.
Yeah,
on
it's
technology.
it's pretty handy. I
Yeah.
mean, for people that are looking for your
Phone's
show,
done. You're there. Yep.
because they're like wanting to. If I go somewhere and I talk about the show,
Right.
then they're wanting to like look it up. And
Yep.
here, you can if you got an Apple phone or whatever, you can scan the QR code.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great idea.
And they're not on our Facebook. I put it on the Facebook,
That's good.
so I think you can just scan it.
Nice.
a NORAD and one who is in the silo, all on the record, right?
Wow.
Firsthand. So
Firsthand.
now we have
Firsthand.
100 of those
That's
that
right.
I've already brought out. Go to my
He
YouTube
knows.
channel. You'll see 70 of them up there.
Shameless
Or
plug
80.
of his YouTube channel.
The problem is that when you're first trying to find out about this, the amount of information, like we're sitting on 8, 9, 10 terabytes of data in my
Dear God.
archive that we're trying to organize. We call it the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive, the DP.
I want to know where that is.
And that's what we're putting and organizing and handing off. As soon as we get it to any state and new information, I hand off another hard drive to
money.
these.
Yep.
top
Yeah.
guys who we're trying to
Take
find
the
out.
money. There you go.
But we need to pick up the pace, obviously, because there's a clock. We'll talk about this. There's a clock now been set on this.
Millions of listeners and thousands of
Oh,
five-star
we got a
reviews
commercial.
rave.
It doesn't mean that it's
Sorry, I'm
right,
listening to your
but I'd
commercial.
be very happy to go tete-a-tete on that with anybody.
Let's talk about. Well, I would love to host that, by the way.
Great,
So,
do it.
Oh, that was the part he talked
yeah,
about
maybe
Lou
we can get
Elizondo.
something going.
Yeah.
He wanted to debate.
Although I have to tell you, he's
That's
called
my
me a
buddy.
terrorist.
Yeah.
That's my Facebook buddy. Be nice to
Yeah.
him.
Boy.
Sorry, you were
Here we go.
the first.
I will-
2 years of defamation of my character, so
I feel secondhand.
I'm bulletproof from it.
I could just see you. Oh, dick move, Doug.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, you got Doty?
No! He doesn't trust me.
Did you do a friend request?
Yeah, and I'm
And he
still
won't do
waiting.
it.
I'm still waiting. Can you talk to him?
A lot of questions.
No, he's like, no.
Nobody talks to
Nobody
him.
talks to him.
Well, you'd have to describe it. That name is not a code word that I've been introduced to from a reliable inside source person who knows.
Okay.
So here's just to give you an idea of my discipline.
Well, I appreciate the honesty. Thank you.
So if somebody has told me about an operation, whether it's a code word, code numbered, or just a general project that I know has the credentials and we know he was involved directly, firsthand, not second, third, fourth hand gossip over the internet, then I will speak to that. But now if you describe to me what people think Stargate is, I can comment on whether it's got any legitimacy.
Well, from what I've read, people are saying that the Stargate program is doing some kind of
Have
experimentation.
you heard of
with
that
kids.
before he mentioned it? Stargate?
I mean, that's,
What's that?
The Stargate program? Have you heard
It
of
has
that
a different
before?
name, but absolutely that's true.
I didn't know it was this ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Herrera, the
Yeah.
Marine who was at our conference, who I think you'll be speaking with soon.
Yep.
He came across such an operation. He initially thought they were transporting in this man-made UFO drugs. They certainly had weapons, illegal weapons that they were distributing. But those crates that our forensic aerospace artist drew, or we had a
Forensic
knock who was there
aerospace artist.
What the hell?
had been involved in an operation after that.
Is that a college
FAA.
course?
Transporting children and
Yeah.
women and certain men
That's crazy.
who had certain capabilities that would be used in experimental
Psych.
projects
This is ugly.
here and in other countries. It's a monstrous program. There's a man who lives right near here who was a CIA operative and was very young, was one of these victims of this. And he wants to come forward, but he's quite frightened. He's already signed affidavits about it. But there's,
So this is
there's
a-
a CIA black site 160, not far from Nashville, that was involved in some of these operations, mostly
Nashville.
drugs
Wow.
and
Wow.
drug running, but also trafficking.
I didn't catch that before.
So it's a human.
So, did you get that from the Herrera interview? I mean, he didn't. They didn't really know if they had drugs on there.
No, he really didn't bring that. Well, let me think about it. No.
See, they didn't know. They just saw a
They
bunch
just
of stuff.
cylinders. Yeah, they just thought cylinders, and no, he didn't really say that. That was more of a Greer thing that he knew from someone else.
Yeah, but they're talking about, and this is a discussion I've had with people from time to time, that a lot of this is being funded by drugs.
Yes. Yeah.
And, trafficking of people.
Which is
and-
funny because he says that they literally can print money to buy drugs and sell drugs. I mean, if you're printing money, why would that even matter?
Yeah.
I mean, you're printing money.
Why do you even have to? Yeah, why do you need to?
To do that?
You're just
So there
printing
could be
money.
an even darker reason why that's happening.
Or unless
other
they're
than
using
these-
that as a metaphor
It could be.
to
Right.
printing money, meaning that there's such deep pockets and trillions of
Right.
billions of dollars
It's just
that
like,
we're
yeah.
spending in these black programs where we're telling the government that, that, like we said, they
Yep.
go to Lockheed, this is what you're spending your money on.
Right.
Well, in reality, it's funneled
It's
into
funneled
another
in some-
program.
and I do believe that.
They need to follow. They need to somehow, unless you. And the thing is about a private company. I mean, I don't know unless you
There's no FOIA.
subpoena them.
Yeah.
Even if a subpoena would be. I mean, they've probably
luck.
got that thing buried so deep
Oh, yeah.
that there's no way you're going to find out.
I think it's
where that
guarded by
money's going.
lawyers. You're not going to just be able to go in
Yeah.
there and dig it on out.
Human trafficking operation is part of
That's
Stargate.
crazy.
Yeah, but you have to understand what it's for. It's not for, shits and giggles, excuse me. It's rather, I have to say, some of these projects, I mean, they're very disturbing. And I don't know how much people want to hear this, but
they want to hear it.
It will keep.
Oh, they want to hear it.
I want to hear it all.
Yeah.
If you have children like I do.
Throw it out there.
But they're used in very specific operations, and they're selected for certain capabilities, particularly psi capabilities. Okay, and those are used in projects that these illegal projects are running for the purpose of communication.
So what's coming to my mind right now is remote viewing.
Yes.
Is that involved in this?
But in a very high-tech way, technologically. Most of the subjects die
Yeah.
as a consequence of what they're made to do. But they have certain aptitudes and abilities for which they are screened, and then they are abducted and taken. Now, keep in mind, this is also, there are a lot of operations that are related to this. Recently there was a whistleblower came out talking about the aliens murdering humans, and he was referring to a case that I know for a fact were our operations.
How does he know that?
Okay, so time out.
Time out. He's like, hold up.
He's talking about Grush.
Yeah.
He's talking about Grush's testimony that...
And was this before Grush's testimony?
This
July,
is
right?
before July. It was
Yeah.
like the 26th, I think, was
Yeah.
Grush's testimony. But he had been talking about these things before he did the testimony.
Right.
Remember? And this
Yep.
this might have been the news even after the News Nation.
Right. Okay.
Remember,
Okay.
they had News Nation, and then weeks
Right.
later they went in. They arranged to have Burchett arranged to have that Senate deal.
Yep.
So, but what the hell? I mean, it's like he's saying that Greer is saying that he's been told that those aren't ET. Those
Right.
are like special operations
Special ops,
or something.
right. Yep.
And that you got this thing going in Peru or wherever, those
The
face
people-
peeling space aliens.
Yeah. Is that the ones flying?
By the
around
way,
rockets?
did your wife have an experience?
So yeah. So the other day, my wife lost an hour, and she was late for work. She goes, "I didn't fall asleep. I knew I had to leave by 8, and she ended up leaving by 9. So she goes, I literally lost an hour. I'm like, you're abducted, babe. She's like,
She doesn't remember what she was doing.
she doesn't. She goes, in literally an hour, and I'm like, you're
So she
messing with
lost
me.
an hour.
She lost an hour. But she refuses to believe that.
I'm gonna have to talk to her.
Yeah,
about that.
you'll talk. You'll say it. Yeah, talk to her. This is an interrogation.
Legal secret government
We need your
We
phone.
record it. Can I-
Yeah.
Come on in here. We
Yeah.
need to talk to you.
Right. You're going to a skiff. No phones.
But it's not a skiff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going public.
Look like an alien attack. Now that information is being now provided to Congressman Tim Burchett and the Senate Intelligence Committee as if those were extraterrestrial events. They have no idea. It's our guys doing it. We're humans.
That's a huge statement.
That is.
No, he's great. I've
That
met
is
with
a
him.
huge statement.
He's in this heart and soul. Here's the risk, though, and if anyone in Congress is watching, I want to word this very carefully. A little knowledge is a extremely dangerous thing here, because this is a hall of smoke and mirrors and deception, and you have to then wind this back. What would a clandestine operation have if unsupervised since the late 1950s, where they've had some of the most brilliant scientific minds I've ever met working these projects? They've had almost an infinite amount of money, trillions of dollars that have gone into the R&D, studying both human breakthroughs and also extraterrestrial vehicles, propulsion systems, communication systems, material science, what things are made of, how they're made. Well, you figure after 80 years of that and trillions of dollars, you're going to have some payoffs. And these payoffs are in the form of advanced advanced technologies, and ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles that are the man-made ones, but also this whole area of nanobiotechnology, consciousness and mind interface technologies, all manner of weapon systems that are what are called scalar or longitudinal, go faster than the speed of light.
So
Go fast.
what we have to remember when we're going to go back to these really aren't NHIs. One of the reasons that disclosure might not happen is that the government doesn't want to admit what they've done over the years to keep this a secret.
Exactly.
And, as long as the government takes that stand...
We're going nowhere with this.
It's whoever wants to know, it's kind of like, we can't release to the public that we've been killing people and kidnapping them.
We can't admit that.
We
can't admit that.
We can't admit
We're gonna have problems.
That. There's a lot of smaller things we don't want to admit to.
Right. And the bigger
we definitely don't want to admit
things.
that. So we can't admit that there's UAPs that we have that we've built and or we have found or whatever have crashed without admitting what it's taken to keep this a secret.
That's right. That's right. We're talking thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
It's like an EMP, but on steroids. It has, instead of a wave like this for electromagnetic, it's a straight line that goes out longitudinally called scalar. And those are fast from the speed of light. They can be used for interstellar communications, but they can also be weaponized. They've been weaponized. So there are all manner, there's a whole constellation again of sciences and technologies, and the CIA science and technology guys, I've met with some of them, that are so far
How's
beyond.
he mean with these?
I met with them.
The white world.
What are they talking about? All of this?
Including Lockheed, Northrop
They just
Grumman.
knock on his door.
My uncle never worked on this stuff. He worked
Hey, Steven.
My uncle.
Let's go to IHOP. Let's go hang out.
His uncle worked on the lunar module.
Right,
And
right.
his whole career was with Northrop Grumman. He was never read into this other end of it. Mm-hmm. So one of the things people have to keep in mind, most of the people in the military, CIA, special operations, corporate, what have you, who work in that world are not part of some vast conspiracy. It's incredibly tightly held. But in my view, that's their Achilles heel. By definition, it has to be kept pretty small, pretty tight, which makes them vulnerable if, we'll get to this later, if the U.S. government actually has the will to go the distance to get this under control. And they need to get it under control fairly quickly because it's getting out of hand.
Let's talk about Project Bluebeam. Mm-hmm. Can you describe what that is?
Well, that's another subculture term that's been attached to a series of projects that involve what the Pentagon, what they call a deceptive indication and warning, or a false INW, which is a false flag.
So this is another one of those things where, like, he uses, you'll hear him talk about Barney and Betty Hill.
Right.
It they weren't really ETs. They were actually
humans. Those are,
actually, special operations or
Right.
something. And then they've, maybe they drugged them.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I would say may. If that happened the way he says it was.
Right.
I don't know about why maybe this was just all part of because remember, she was able to draw out the Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah, which is pretty close, I guess.
system.
Yeah.
But that
Would they have planted that?
They probably planted, they may not have been, she probably did that and then they did it a different way to make it look like, who knows what they did. Everything's, like I talk about with the war, we don't really even know what's real. Remember, I don't know if you know, a hospital was bombed and 500 people died.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
But it didn't really happen.
It didn't really happen. So exactly. Yep.
Did you hear it was just a parking lot?
No, it was a parking lot.
But is that real?
Right.
You know what I mean? Did 500 people really die? You look at this.
Psych ops.
Yeah, and you look at it, it's like, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
That's
the problem.
And I do want to say it's unfortunate that we're having war over. There's a lot of people dying, and I
definitely.
I
don't agree with that. Right.
I don't support this thing at all.
Nope.
Who cares if I do? But it's I don't know why we can't. In 2023, we have no better answer than to just go and attack and kidnap people
to
get what we need. What
Right.
did they Hamas? What did they want?
Yeah.
They just
They won't
went
talk
over
about that,
into
probably.
Israel
They're probably not going to mention that
to
part.
kidnap and just kill. I saw a YouTube video. It was about a 20-minute video, 24-minute video.
Right.
And they had GoPro they went in on these motorcycles.
Right.
They cut the fence open into Israel. They drove in with motorcycles, RPG. They're carrying armloads of RPGs.
Oh, shit,
and
right.
guns, and they're going in. Guys running down the street. I mean, they're literally just
shooting people.
Shot the guy, hits the ground, blah, blood everywhere.
Is that real?
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's
I don't
the
know.
question.
Is it real?
Right. That's
is
the
it
question.
real? It freaking look real, and then they're going house to house, killing people in their sleep, and But again, is it real?
Yeah.
You know, I saw something. Oh, we're going to go way off, and
we're going off topic.
Well, this is a 2.5 hour interview.
Yeah,
and we've managed to make 28 minutes. So I think there may be a part 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Which means I'll be transcribing some more. So,
cut a tree down.
The moon landings.
Yes. Yeah. Are they real? Were they staged?
You ever watched the Y-Files? It's the guy with the goldfish that talks in the background.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I think I've seen
the
one
Y-Files,
yes.
I think it's called. And he did hate that guy because you go in there and you're like, the moon landing's fake.
Right.
Because it's usually at the end, he debunks the debunking.
Right.
You know, or he'll talk about some cool story and then this isn't real, probably not real because blah, blah. But in the end of the moon landing one,
right.
I believe he doesn't try to debunk it. He's
right.
just like, it's just not real.
It was right. The space race, and we wanted to be the first and look right.
And I watched the video, and he's showing all these different things about how it was fake.
The shadows.
And there's strings on stuff.
Where's the car? Right.
And I'm just thinking, holy crap, was it not
real?
I don't even know what's real anymore.
We're living in a simulation, Doug.
This world isn't even real.
It's a simulation.
Is the Earth flat?
Right. I don't know about that. I'm not ready to take that one on yet.
You haven't been on with Shelley Lewis.
No, I'm not ready for. I don't know if
we're
I'm ready
going to bring Shelley on with you. My brother was on for the last one, so.
Oh boy.
We'll plow through a little more of this Steve here as well. We've got a few more minutes left, and I'll have to make a note of where we stopped.
We're going to pause at Independence Day, though.
Technologies, an alien attack or an alien event, and it's a whole series of them. Now, what most people don't know about since late 50s, early 60s, like the Barney Hill case and all that, those were all human assets abducting innocent people made to look alien. And so that psychological warfare was authorized in 1953, 54. 1954, we mastered gravity control. So we started deploying these assets to begin to condition the public that there's a scary threat from outer space. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Hollywood, Alien, Ridley Scott's the movies. If you want to see a script for what's coming fairly soon,
there we go.
Independence Day.
That's where
it's right out of central casting for this covert group.
I've heard that before, though.
With their whole
but he's saying trust aliens.
They're getting us ready.
Independence Day is coming.
Super state.
But they're saying nothing's happening. That
it's like War of the Worlds.
It's really us.
And that's been a 7-year defense plan. And I know people.
They just want us to believe that. I don't know.
Carol Rosin saw the plan, who was Werner von Braun's spokesperson.
Greer literally said, "You can trust the aliens, don't trust the government." But Independence Day is coming.
When she realized
is it? Is it not?
This was what was afoot.
Who do we trust?
Her whole life was devoted to trying to get some of these projects under control. But where little David's up against an enormous Goliath. And nevertheless, the truth, if people want the truth, Gloria Steinem said, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. But it's time for people to, actually realize that this is something they have to take seriously. So now, if you add those capabilities to holographic capability, scalar weapon capability, space-time systems where you can alter the flow of space-time in an area, which gets into some really. At the CIA, they call this WSFM, weird science and frickin' magic. My uncle's company, I met an engineer that dealt with this stuff.
That's my next album.
He said, we just call it PFM, pure fucking magic.
Pure fucking magic,
Really,
yeah.
that's what we call it. So you're dealing with technologies that are, and this is the problem, I call it the big technology gap between what conventional Pentagon, Special Forces, Joint Staff, Senate Intel, Armed Services, House Intel, the President, National Security people, what they know and what this group has. So what they know, it's like this is, just to make this real for people. When I was briefing years ago, the admiral in charge of J2, Joint Intelligence for Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Wilson, and that memo leaked out where he was debriefed by Dr. Davis, and everyone went, oh my God. And it states, I was there for a stand-up briefing, and what they don't know is that at the end of it, I asked the Admiral to help us get to, and this is 97, this is 26 years ago. And he said, well, I don't know how I'm going to help with something when the best technology I can deploy, we can deploy, is a B-2 stealth. And
That was pure fucking magic.
Pure fucking magic. All right, we're running up against an hour, but what the hell?
There's a lot of stuff back there.
There's 2 hours and 35 minutes of this, and we've got through 35 minutes.
So we're going to have a part two.
We're going to have a part that at that rate, we got another 4 episodes to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure. Yes, we do. It's all PFM.
It's all pure fucking magic. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net, Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. Like and subscribe, YouTube at Alien Probe Podcast. Thank you, Matt, once again.
You.
Appreciate you coming in, and
thanks for having me.
We will see you next time.
PFM.
Watch the skies.